feel where the incision is, and it's numb, but at the same time it hurts like hell. And it makes sense in my mind. I'm sure there's people out there who say that they still feel numbness after a year, and that kind of terrifies me. But when I see my scar, it's like, holy shit, that really happened. I just didn't really think that that could happen to me. Prior to becoming pregnant, my relationship with my body, again, it was that
boldly go where no man has gone before.
I am a universalist, if you will, and I come about that because I've had a life that has probably had its expiration date at least a dozen times. At the age of 15 or plus, I was infected with HIV. It was called HIV at the time.
I am a light, and I fill up every space that I go into.
I would say I'm a hard-headed, ambitious woman, I think.
I am a being, a spirit, exploring and experiencing life with the goal to grow, expand, and bring life.
I am a creative. I'm a second-generation Korean American that grew up in a really pretty white town. I think I'm still trying to find my cultural identity.
My transition was very hard for me. My family was just very not supportive.
But I wanted to be treated like one of the boys, like always.
Recently, I just gave birth 2 weeks ago. It was September 16th, 2022 at 12:14 p.m. I am now 2 weeks postpartum.
I think that pregnancy is really interesting. I think it's cool that like a person can create life. To me, as a trans guy, it sounds like a nightmare. Like I really don't want to be pregnant ever.
When we found out that we were pregnant, we had no idea what we were going to do, to be quite frank with you.
I hated being pregnant. I hated it. I hated every second of it. I love my kids to death. Love them to death. But watching my body change like that, like just thinking about it, like, and after I had my son, I was almost 200 pounds.
I started off at 135, and I ended at 205 pounds.
I couldn't, I
didn't think I could get there.
I was absolutely mortified in my skin, in my body. I was just every day I would wake up and I would look in the mirror and I was like, this is not okay. This is not okay. And I would freak out.
I really don't want to be pregnant ever. And I think it's amazing that some people do want to do that and do have that experience. And my mom was like, it was like the best experience ever. But then like when she talks about it, she's like, yeah, I was like throwing up every single day. And like,
I got so big and I've been an athlete my whole life. I've always been a well-conditioned machine. Like,
It's a hate-love relationship.
I've always been super athletic, super lean, super fit.
Shit, like I gained so much weight, I feel heavy, I feel disgusting. I don't really, this isn't really my body. Like for me before, like when the going gets tough, it's like, well, I can always just, I don't really want to say, but I can always just disappear permanently and everything will be okay. But I can't necessarily do that now because I have a child. I've dealt with a lot of things as far as like suicide is concerned.
I've always been super capable.
You know, there was a time where I'm at my lowest adult weight, right? I'm 270. I'm super proud of the weight loss that I've accomplished. And then you have folks say, you know, oh, I can give you tips on how you can lose weight. And I'm like, have you ever lost 90 pounds? Because I've done that. Confidence is feeling secure in your being, in your body, in what you do and how you do it. It's comfort, it's happiness and joy in those things. I think I found it in the love and support of my family and encouragement. My mom always celebrated my skin tone, my size, my spirit. I've always had this feeling that I was deserving of love and my presence, you know, I deserve to be there. I just didn't see myself. And that always confused me. Like, why are there not people who look like me on the TV? Why are there not people like me in movies, in love? That was confusing to me because I thought that people who looked like me deserved that. I feel like it reaffirmed the thought that I had that this should exist. This representation should exist for folks who look like us. I love Joe Scott, namely because when I was in high school, Joe Scott, her album Who Is Joe Scott came out. And I remember seeing her on the screen. And I had never seen someone who was large and who held confidence and exuded beauty and even sexiness. I felt proud in that moment that there was someone who looked like me on the TV singing their heart out about a man, right?
I think femininity is a spectrum. You know, I think it's whatever you want it to be.
I think I've been like running from femininity for so long that I guess I just use it as an opposite. But I don't really know if they're actually that opposite.
Sometimes I'm like, I think I have a very masculine temper, but sometimes I'm like, I also think it's a very feminine feature for me as well.
When I moved to the city, we moved to the city, I started going to better schools, I had a better neighborhood, and I started to realize that I liked boys.
Growing up, everybody was always like, oh, you're gay. Oh, you're gay. Oh, there's something about you. I think I was putting off in the back of my head for so long, thought I was like straight.
Because I didn't really understand what this was, what it meant to be like trans. I was the new kid at this like school that was like a K through 12 school. Everyone had known each other for a long time.
I was basically living a lie for like 18 years.
I came in and I went hyper feminine. I like hid every masculine part of myself because I wanted to be liked and I wanted to be like, I didn't want to be viewed as different.
I was like the kid who no one really ever thought anything of. Like, I was really quiet.
And you know me, I was adventurous. I was always adventurous. I was a Trekkie Star Trek guy as a kid.
I was the kid that would hide from chores to go read chapters and chapters and chapters of books.
In the back of my head, I'm like, I'm this gut feeling when I'm supposed to be a woman.
And I went through this whole process of like going, engaging and experimenting and going, oh, well, I really am gay at the age of 15, you know? And I was very confident about it.
At first, it changed my relationships because people would almost feel like very careful about like talking about it and like asking about it. And like, I don't think people realize like that's really what makes it weird for us sometimes. And I get it, like it's hard to ask somebody about their skin, but like,
my mom always celebrated my skin tone, my size, my spirit, and I think that helped me to frame my perspective in who I am. I first started identifying as curvy in the late 2000s.
Automatically, most people look at people who are overweight and say fat first.
Fat is considered a negative thing. When we say thin, it's usually positive, and fat is usually considered negative.
I often think about this one time I was 13 years old, and my mother took me to an audition. This grown-ass lady tells me that I need to lose weight, I need to get a nose job, and also a boob job. I was 13 years old.
The unsolicited weight loss advice abounds. It's unreal. Is it because of my body that you assume that I need that?
I was getting ready in the mirror, listening to music, and then I just noticed this like white spot, probably about the size of a quarter, like on my elbow right here, and I was just like.
And she proceeded to offer me tips on whether, you know, the cotton ball diet,
I just didn't think anything of it, and then found about my life.
But I didn't realize how much that kind of affected me, because then that kind of stems eating disorders.
And that was the first memory that I had about having my little eye done.
That, you know, maybe I should be skinny. Maybe I should be a little bit more skinny because I wanted it so bad.
It wasn't until I got pregnant with my oldest son that I started noticing just like clouds on my hands and feet. It didn't feel like anything. And like, it was very confusing, so that was when my hormones started making it just spread like wildfire.
So anyways, I met my first date, if you will, one night when we were driving around the block. I saw this blue-eyed, blonde-haired young man on the corner, and he's looking, and I'm going, why is he so interested in me? I'm just, you know, I'm just this newly skinny, like, insecure guy. So finally I pull over, and he says, hi, how are you? I said, I've never done this before. He said, let me come in. And so he took me to his motel, which had already been used for the purposes that I didn't realize he was a prostitute. My first date, my first boyfriend, was a working prostitute.
I had a friend, she was kind of my partner, my ED partner. She introduced me to like either eating food, chewing it up, and then spitting it out. And it was working.
It was amazing. you know?
My mom, being a mother, like, she was worried about me, but she kept insisting that. She's like, are you sure it's not HIV or like AIDS?
And there was no HIV then, right? So it's a free world. I was 15, I was confident. I even picked up guys at school, we dated. I just like, normal kind of stuff.
It worked a little too well, actually. And I remember passing out at the mall, and they had to call the ambulance.
And then, like a year and a half later, we started seeing stuff in the news. Little bitty things like gay plague. You know, mysteriously, there are men dying within weeks with purple splotches on their faces. Hundreds of men lining up the halls of hospitals. And I was going, oh, that'll never happen to me. That'll never happen to me. I'm invincible, you know? Well, you know, about a year went by. I met my next boyfriend. And we decided it finally came out the test. We got it. We came back a week later. He went in one room, and I went in the other. Almost came out at the same time, and we met in the elevator. And he said, well, how did it go? I said, I have it. I have it.
I have encountered a number of men who assume that you have low self-esteem, that they can take advantage of you or use you.
I am experiencing this fear of someone finding out that I'm trans and killing me, honestly.
At the beginning of this year, New Year's, I got jumped outside of the club for being trans.
I've had a man that I dated for years.
I wanted to get top surgery really badly, and I wanted to be on T. He didn't really want me to get on testosterone because he's straight and he didn't want to be with a guy or whatever.
And we're just sitting there in silence. We're just total silence. We didn't talk about anything.
But he wanted me, not to say that he wanted to stop me from it, he just, because he wanted me to be happy and wanted me to do what I needed to do, but he did express that, like, he didn't know how he would feel if I did do that, and he didn't know, like, you know, if he would want to continue in that relationship or anything like that.
And when we first met, we met at a big girl club. There was a club that was designed for curvier, thicker women.
This dude was harassing me in the club. I tried to talk to security about it. They weren't doing anything, so I decided to leave the club.
I was bullied in school, I was abused at home.
I don't know if he affected me or I think it didn't matter.
As I'm leaving the club, he like rips my wig off and just starts like, yeah.
It was just like, I couldn't escape it.
It's not as though I was scared. I wasn't really afraid of dying. Because I don't really have a 50-year-old husband really dying, you know?
I wanted to do vaginal birth, but I couldn't do that because my son's heart rate was dropping, so they had to do an emergency C-section. I feel like I missed out on just the whole experience of being able to push and feel him come out.
So I got surgery, top surgery, and for the first 2 weeks I did stay at my parents' house, but then the rest of it I moved back in with him because we were living together at the time.
And then I got married, and like my whole 20s I was married to a very abusive man.
And it wasn't until many years later that he confessed to me that the night that he met me, he had gone with a friend because that friend had told him that big women will pay for things.
I spent like the first 20, almost 30 years, 28 years of my life feeling utterly suffocated.
For the longest time, I was like trying to blame myself.
And there was like nothing, there was like no hope back then.
And, you know, hearing the nurses and my mom and, you know, my partner cheering me on, saying that I'm doing a good job, and realizing that I just couldn't bring them in through that way, and I had to get a C-section. It just kind of
I feel like it took away like a sense of like freedom for me.
And I feel like I was kind of robbed of the opportunity of actually being able to do it the natural way.
When I came out of the domestic violence shelter with my kids, I was homeless. I had 3 kids. I had just like 4 blankets and 2 bins of clothes to my name. And at that point in time, the stress level started spreading like wildfire again. This is spread. This is definitely spread into just like a chin strap. So.
He took care of me for like 4 weeks, and then on the day of my last post-op appointment, we went. It was fine, and then we came back home, and he like asked me what I wanted to do, like celebrate. And this was like 6 weeks after the operation. And I was like, I wanted to take a bath, and so we took a bath together. It was really nice and sweet, and then like afterwards we were like laying in bed, and then he like broke up with me.
That's different. Never heard that before. So who am I? I am different. I am, you know, I would say I am someone who is a butterfly, like a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. Sometimes you just want to feel and look like everybody else. I be trying to understand like why I am the way I am, or it's because I was very insecure growing up, really insecure for a long time. And it is because I have a lazy eye. So yeah, I never really felt all that pretty or anything like that. I think some people think I am just slow, like automatically like really slow because I have it. I probably get the random question like, oh, what happened to your eye? Why does it look like that? Modeling really helped. It helped build my confidence because I was very, I felt like I had to hide myself, but not no more. I'll say that now I'm slowly growing out of that, but I don't know. I don't know why I let my eye make me feel so insecure. Maybe because it was just so low and it's just like made me look deformed, I felt like. And I knew there was nothing really wrong with me. So would I ever like to become a mother? Hell yeah. I wanna give my kids something better than what my parents. I'm not saying that they didn't do a good job. I'm just saying that your kids really need you. So yeah. To me, it's about us and what we're building. So that's why, even though through these insecurities, I'm grateful for them because they make me go hard, and it's like we got so much to fight for.
So, we sat ourselves one day next to each other, just wanted to chill moments. And I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm breathing right now, and my heart is beating right now. As long as that's happening, I don't give a fuck how bad it gets. I'm gonna live every day as best as I can until it starts. If it ever starts to get bad. There's no reason sitting around here being sad and miserable and defeatist, fucking suicidal, when I'm not dying this minute.
Lo que te quería decir es que tú estás jodiéndome la vida.
The big thing that gives me pause about getting older is your body is older, right? And you can't, you know, I shouldn't say you can't change your body. You can always change your body, but you can't swap it out.
You know, I've lived a life. I've been on the covers of magazines, getting dragged away by police, protesting for AIDS drugs where there was nothing, and universal health care. So in a way, death or fear of death should be turned into an opportunity to fight it in other ways that you may not be able to when your body starts to give out. That's all I can say.
I wish I would have done so much more because I feel like I'll be so much further. But I'm learning that like the age doesn't matter. Like you can still make it to where you want to be. It doesn't matter how old you are.
I never give myself enough credit. I think there's moments in the past where I have, you know, prayed for where I am right now and prayed for, or just even asked to be so confident and unapologetically myself. I think that past Chrissy would probably croak over and scream if she saw me right now.
Once I started accepting myself, I started attracting people who accepted me too. And when I stopped accepting people in my life who didn't support who I am or who took away from my peace and, you know, used me or, you know, things of that nature, like even if they're family, you cannot have access to me. Once I started denying access to people who weren't good for me, I started attracting people who were. And the more I started celebrating myself, the more I started attracting people who celebrate me too. I love myself.
When I came out, my close friends honestly were not surprised, which felt like affirming, but I also felt kind of like, man, like you guys took away my like big reveal or whatever. Definitely I felt like I was the last to find out. Sometimes we can't see ourselves.
But I think spirit-wise, soul-wise, growing older is an expansion of ourselves, a blossoming, if you will.
I want to be remembered as the person who is resilient and someone who's a good example to know that it's okay to not be okay and that you can work through your insecurities no matter how big or small they are. I want to be remembered as this kind individual who still has a lot to give to the world, as far as, hey, I had an eating disorder, I've been abused, I've had a shitty sense of worth, but I've worked through all of my problems and I still am a work in progress, but you can do it too.
Son tan caudalosas sus corrientes que si el infierno riegan y la gente, aunque es de noche, aunque es de noche, aunque es de noche, aunque es de noche, la corriente que nace de esta fuente, piense que es tan capaz y omnipotente, aunque de noche. En esta eterna fuente está escondida, en este vivo pan por darme vía, aunque de noche. aunque